Good morning, students. Welcome back. In the last lecture, we have studied homographs. It was very necessary to learn homographs while learning the poem 1.3 from 9th standard textbook. The title of the poem is Have You Ever Seen? The title itself is a question. Through this poem, the poet teases us and asks that with the help of our eyes, we see so many things around us. But have you ever seen some things as mentioned by the poet? The poet is anonymous, means we do not know much more about the poet that who composed the poem. Using this poem, we learn homographs, and even the poet has used a figure of speech, pun. Pun is a game of words where such words are used which has two meanings. See the title of the poem. That is the question, have you ever seen some things like the bed? We know the meaning of bed. Bed, it is a piece of furniture on which we sleep. Another one meaning of bed, that is the bottom part. So here the poet has used in the first line, river bed. That is the bottom part of the river. See the poem, Have You Ever Seen? It's a very funny and interesting poem as there are two meanings of most of the words of homographs. Have you ever seen a sheet on a river, or a single hair from a hammer's head? Has the foot of a mountain any toes? And is there a pair of garden hose? See the second stanza. Does the needle ever wink its eye? Why doesn't the wing of a building fly? Can you tickle the ribs of a parasol? Or open the trunk of a tree at all? See the third stanza. Are the teeth of a rake even going to bite? Have the hands of a clock any left or right? Can the garden plot be deep and dark? And what is the sound of the bird's bark? The poet is anonymous. It means we do not have much more information about the poet, that who has composed it. So in this poem, we will see the meaning of one by one stanzas, as the first stanza is, have you ever seen a sheet on a river bed? In this line, the homograph is bed. We know that there are two meanings of bed. One is a piece of furniture, and the second meaning of river bed is the bottom of a river where the ground is. So in this way, the poet is asking a funny question, that have you ever seen a sheet on a river bed? It means sheet means a piece of cloth, and river bed means the bottom of a river where the ground is. So poet is asking, have you seen such a piece of cloth at the bottom of a river where the ground is? Or a single hair from a hammer's head. So head or top of a hammer, the picture is shown at the right side, that is the top of the hammer. So there is no hair at the head of a hammer, but we know that on our head there are many hair. So the poet is saying, have you ever seen a single hair on a hammer's head? So in these two lines, The homographs are bed and head. In the third line, the poet asks, has the foot of a mountain any toes? We know that we have hands and the hands are having fingers. In the same way, foot are having toes. So here, the meaning of foot is double. The first meaning of the foot is, that is the bottom part or the lower part of something, and another one meaning of foot, that is the foot of a human body. So poet says that has the foot of a mountain any toes? That have you ever seen that there are toes at the foot of a mountain? In the last line of the first stanza, the poet says, and is there a pair of garden hose? Hose. It is a flexible pipe through which we carry water and supply it to the plants. And another one meaning of hose, that is old-fashioned socks, or that is stocking. So in these two lines, the homographs are foot and hose. So poet says that these are 4 questions in the first stanza. The poet has asked to us, and in the first stanza there are 4 lines. Now we will see the second stanza of the poem, that is, in this also the poet is asking a question, and he says, does the needle ever wink its eyes? And poet says that wink means close and opening of the eyes. So he says the needle is also having an eye, and we also are having eyes. So human being can open and close our eyes. But the poet says that the needle cannot wink its eyes. So he is asking us that have you ever seen that the needle winks its eye? And again he says, why doesn't the wing of a building fly? There the meaning of wing is double. First, a wing of the building, that is a part of a building that sticks out from the main part, and another one meaning of wing, that is a part of the body of the bird. So with the help of the wings, the birds fly. So the poet is asking that have you ever seen that the wing of a building flies as the bird flies? Of course, the answer is no. And in the last line of the second stanza, the poet says, or open the trunk of a tree at all. So the word trunk has 2 meanings. First, that is the hard outer part of the tree, and the another one meaning of trunk, that is the backside part of a car where we keep our luggage, to which we call dicky. So poet is saying that as we open the dicky of a car and keep our luggage inside, in the same way can we open the trunk of a tree. And have you ever seen such type of things? In the second stanza, there are 4 homographs. The first is eye. In the second line, the homograph is wing. In the third line, the poet had said, can you tickle the ribs of a parasol? Tickle means to touch lightly. And ribs, that is the lining part of our body, that is made up of curved bones. And a parasol means an umbrella. So poet is saying, An umbrella is also having a lining part, and can we touch that umbrella slightly, very lightly, so that the umbrella can laugh? In the last line, the poet has says, or open the trunk of a tree. The trunk, that is the part of the tree that is hard, skin, outer part of the tree, which we cannot open. So in this way, the poet has said that we cannot do these things, and we have never seen such type of things in our life. Now, in the second stanza, the rhyming words are I, fly, parasol, and all. Now we will see the third stanza, where the poet had said that are the teeth of a rake ever going to bite? So teeth of a rake. Rake is the name of a tool which we use to gather soil or ash, and this rake is having teeth. So we know that we also have teeth, and the teeth are used to bite. So in the same way, the poet is asking, as we use the teeth for biting, that are the teeth of a rake ever going to bite to anyone? So poet is asking, have you ever seen or have you ever heard that the teeth of a rake had bitten to anyone? In the next line, the poet says, have the hands of a clock any left or right? As we know that we have two hands, one is left and one is right. In the same way, the clock is also having three hands, and can we call any hand of a clock left or right? So in this way, the poet has made funny questions to us. In the third line, the poet says, in this stanza, can the garden plot be deep and dark? The word plot has two meanings. The first meaning of plot is small area of ground, and the second meaning of plot is evil or wicked plan of a story. In this way, the poet asks that can the garden plot, that is means a area, be small, deep and dark? And another one meaning, can the plan of a garden be deep and dark? In the last line, the poet says, and what is the sound of the birch bark? Birch is the name of a tree, and the word bark has two meanings. First, sound of a dog, and another one meaning, hard cover of a tree. So poet says in the last line that what is the sound of the bird's bark? That have you ever heard or seen the sound of bird's bark, that is hard cover of a tree? In this way, the poet has asked us very funny questions. And in this poem, the figure of speech is pun. Pun means there are words which has two meanings. And another one figure of speech is used in the poem, that is interrogations. It means there are many questions. So wherever there is a question in the poem, that figure of speech is interrogation. In this way, the poet has used two figures of speech, specially, that is pun and interrogation, and asked us many questions. So now students, I hope that all of you have understood the meaning of homographs and the meaning of questions asked by the poet to us. So students, after this I am going to give you some notes, even some questions. You will have to listen the lecture, attend the lecture, read the poem, and then read the questions carefully and attempt them. Thank you.